We had Luke Beasley on the ground in Atlanta last week at the presidential debate, and he got some amazing interviews with some of the most suck-uppy of the Trump suck-ups, and none of them liked the lines of questioning that they got from Luke. And I'll be honest, Luke made a lot of these guys, including Vivek Ramaswamy, which I will play for you here, he made them look really stupid, really stupid. And we're going to start with the Vivek Ramaswamy conversation, and then we will get to others and different Trump suck-ups reacting to Luke in different ways. Let's start with Vivek Ramaswamy.
One of the attacks against Trump is commonly he wouldn't uphold the Constitution. What's your response to that?
My response to that is that's a lot of projection from the people who are making the accusations.
Does it
the
bother you that
reality
he
is
called for the termination of the Constitution?
He did not call for the termination
A
of the
massive
Constitution.
fraud of this type magnitude allows the
So now Luke has the troth from Trump memorized, and he starts reading it to Vivek. Vivek doesn't care. He doesn't want to hear it.
termination
He did
of
not
all
call
rules, regulations,
he did not
articles,
call,
even though it's found in the Constitution?
cite for me one time where Donald Trump
Truth
called for the
Social.
termination of the Constitution.
I'm reading it to you right now.
He's never called for the termination
A
of the
massive
Constitution.
fraud of this type magnitude.
But here's what I
allows
believe.
the
I'm
termination
going
of
to
all
answer
rules.
this question before I go to the next
I was trying to
interview.
Vivek sets up, I'm going to go to the next interview. He doesn't even let Luke fully get the quote out. This is how they do it. Luke has the quote. Trump did call and justify the termination of the Constitution, and Vivek just talks over it. That's how he gets out of actually having to contend with the matter.
Well, what I do believe is there's the projection of the people who do call for the termination of the Constitution and their behaviors want to take the decisions away from the voters. And never in American history have we seen the wielding of prosecutorial power to try to eliminate a candidate in the middle of an election while you had extrajudicial means of removing them
We
from
have
the
evidence
ballot.
yet of that, but
and
I
that's
do
an
want
insult.
to
So that's
start
the
with-
answer.
Question before you head out.
All right. And then Luke is just kind of like, oh boy, well, that's pretty interesting stuff. So really nice job. Luke had the quote. Trump did call for it. Vivek won't engage with it. He'll say, well, there's other people who really want to terminate the Constitution and this other thing. And what else can I talk about? Then Elise Stefanik, bomb-throwing MAGA congresswoman. And Luke got her as well. This is really good stuff. Take a listen.
If you became Trump's vice president, obviously one of the things that has been pointed out, I think on the debate stage, is that Trump tried to get Pence to not certify the election results. Is that something that you agree with or don't agree when it comes to Pence's decision?
I stood up for the Constitution. I had concerns, and I believe that there was unconstitutional overreach in the 2020 election, as the majority of Americans agree with.
Aren't courts supposed to determine that?
The court, it goes to the state legislatures, and in the state of Pennsylvania, they circumvented the state legislature,
I'm saying,
which is unconstitutional.
in terms of the constitutionality,
People
the
understand
courts
that
disagree with you, right?
Let me answer your question. 2020, people understand that this election was unconstitutional, and they understand that the attacks on democracy are by Democrats who are illegally weaponizing the Department of Justice, the radical district attorney's office, who are, that's a form
So
of
no
election
evidence of that,
interference
but you,
going
it sounds like
against
you
Joe
are
Biden,
saying
going
that you
against
would
Joe Biden's-
go along with an anti-democratic attempt to
No, I've
block
already
the peaceful
answered
transfer.
this.
Of course you would. That's why she just wants to rattle off this verbal diarrhea.
Question before is I disagree with Mike Pence's approach. I stood on the House floor and I stood up for the Constitution and election integrity. I stand by that position, and the American people, that's one of the reasons why they support Donald Trump, because he supports the Constitution.
And off she goes without even saying, thank you so much for speaking to me. They're all not at all happy with Luke Beasley being there. And then this may be my favorite. Luke then spoke to Byron Donalds, and this, I love this. Byron Donalds didn't even have the testicular fortitude to confirm Luke's credentials. As soon as he didn't like the line of questioning, some aide off screen to Byron Donalds asks Luke if he's actually even supposed to be there, which is like when you're trying to look at whether the person asking you the questions has the right slip of paper, which, by the way, Luke did, because I had I was invited to go to the debate and we were all set up here for a stream and it was too last minute for me. So I had my credential given to Luke. Of course he's there with credentials. There were multiple layers of security. And Luke, goes, hey, Byron can ask me if he has a question about my credentials. So take a listen to this one.
One of the questions that I didn't hear an answer that was super clear from Trump on is so many people, dozens of people who left his administration, very different than Biden's administration, have said, this guy's not fit to be president. Yeah, it's right here. He can do it. Good man.
So I don't know how many of you caught that. So, an aide to Byron Donald off screen asks, do you even have a credential? And Luke says, yeah, it's right here. He can do it, right? If Byron Donalds has a question as to whether Luke's supposed to be there, Let Byron ask him about it. Okay, I'll move it back a few seconds so everybody can get that again.
Have said, this guy's not fit to be president. Yeah, it's right here. You can do it. Good man. So how do you explain that? So many people in the room for the most important decision saying this guy can't be anywhere close to the White House.
Well, first of all, let's say this. When you fire people, whether it's an administration or even out of a company, and I've noticed this in politics, political people don't think they should ever be fired, even when they're doing a bad job. A lot of times, which frustrates the American people, is political people fail and then they get promoted. And that's frankly what pisses a lot of people off. So if Donald Trump looked at people who were working for him early on and got rid of them and they have an axe to grind, I can't be concerned about
like
that.
Pence or all those people?
Or am I going to answer?
I give you a good amount of time.
Let me answer. Let me get to this.
He wants to, the reason they do this, he wants to run out the clock, give a single filibustering answer that's long enough that then he can go, listen, I got to move on because I've spent a lot of time with you, rather than allowing Luke follow-ups, of which there would be endless follow-ups because Byron Donald is just being deceptive with every single word here. It's a strategy they use. Some of them use it better than others, right? I mean, he's working to prevent Luke from getting another question.
Now,
will you answer the question, though?
You ready? Here we go. Now, Alejandro Mayorkas is a failure. Our border is wide open. Tony Blinken is a failure. Israel is embroiled in war. Ukraine is embroiled in war. Pete Buttigieg, this dude took off for a month. Nobody even knew he was gone.
You're not talking about Trump's administration officials.
Are you talking or am I talking?
Taking a long route to it.
Bro, I know on your side,
Mike Pence. Let's go with just Mike Pence.
On your side, I know you guys will just use talking points, but when you get...
The funny thing is, Luke asked a question. There's no... The talking points are... Luke asks Byron Donald a question about the Trump administration, and Byron Donald spends 70 seconds talking about Pete Buttigieg and Alejandro Mayorkas, which has nothing to do with the question. And then Byron has the audacity to go, you guys just use talking points. He's not even addressing even remotely the substance of the question.
An educated answer. Be patient and let me give it to you.
I want to hear Mike Pence, other administration officials, then I'm ready.
You go over there, and then when you're ready to have a conversation, come see me. Yes.
I'm ready. I'm here.
There you go. So Byron Donald's walking away. When you don't allow them, and the truth is, this happens, when we have a member of Congress on here and they start their filibustering, if I just interrupt the way Luke beautifully did here every time and go, you're not answering the question. Wait, but what about what I asked? What about what I asked? They just end the interview. And that's exactly what Byron Donald is doing here by walking away. Really, really nice job by Luke. And then Luke also spoke to Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. He brought up the whole kerfuffle with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And let me play a little bit of that for you. It's also very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Just quick question. I'll get screamed at by my audience if I don't ask about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I won't give you a general basic question. Instead, I want you to explain to my viewers, what do you think? Because I think it's a lot. Marjorie Taylor Greene represents about the current state of the Republican Party, about this MAGA contingent.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We only have one her because, it's just hard to be that bad, to be perfectly honest. But we do know that she emulates Trump. She's like a baby Trump, right? She doesn't have policy ideas. She doesn't do anything but cause distractions. She doesn't do anything but name call and pick. And that's not what it is to be an elected official. That's what it is to be an ugly bully. And that's exactly what she is. And so if we don't think that it's okay for her, and her ratings around this country, her favorability, she's the lowest of all the Republicans, according to our numbers. So if you don't like it when Marjorie does it, you shouldn't like it when Donald does it either, because that's where she's getting her cues from. A little bit more frequently than the everyday citizen, they get to see the strong, competent, compassionate person that he is. And I think that that's what made everyone fall in love with him before. And so this is an opportunity for them to all fall in love with him again, because we know that there's only one person that can talk policy. There's only one person that has.
All right. So making the case there for Biden after what at that point was a disorientingly poor performance from President Biden. So really nice job there by Luke. You can check out Luke's channel at davidpakman.com/Luke. And we got to get Luke in more of these situations because it was very, very solid stuff. One of our sponsors is Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Don't you think it's time you stopped putting smoke and vape oils in your lungs? Zippix toothpicks are a convenient way to curb the nicotine cravings. Zippix toothpicks are super discreet. You can use them anytime, anywhere smoking and vaping aren't allowed, including flights, sporting events, in restaurants. They're available in 6 different flavors with options of 2 and 3 milligrams of nicotine. If you're not a nicotine user, Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks. Zippix has already helped tens of thousands of customers ditch the cigarettes, ditch the vapes. They might be able to help you too. If you're a smoker or a vapor, give Zippix toothpicks a try. Your lungs will thank you. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com today. Save 10% with the code PACMAN10 at checkout. Just remember, you must be 21 or older to order. The link is down below.